no friend of mine. To turn from him is what we've got in mind. 'Cause you're my friends, is Jive motherfucking talking to Jive with the devil. Jive with the devil. That's Jive. That just came to me like a waking dream. I just sat down and I says, I want to do this story about Matthew Sweet. Is it Michael Sweet? Sorry, not Matthew Sweet, Michael Sweet. Jesus, someone's going to wring my damn ass about that. But, and then it just came to me. Let me tell you something that happened to me. Welcome to Jive Talkin, episode 91. I can't believe it. We have made it this far. Stimulating, intriguing, interesting. We read the stories. We have some fun with it every single week. What happened in the heavy metal news that seems to be slightly interesting to me? I just took a bus ride home, right? I tell you about work. I ride a bicycle most of the time, but I do use the biking system since my beautiful 1988 Lincoln Town Car died last year. I've been on the bus. And I was just smashed in for a 20-minute ride with an entire family of older, out of shape, overweight, drunk as a skunk. I mean, passing out in the seats. This whole family was surrounding me on the bus. And it was 20 minutes. The guy was leaning on me, drunk, passing out and leaning on me. Now, to his credit, he did wake up and he kind of said, and I took my earbud out because I had to have both of them in, just listening to anything. Usually my dark, heavy synth wave. And he said, sorry, man. But they were just hammered on the bus and talking loud and laughing and just, being joyous. But after a long day at work, my God, I just want to get home in a little bit of peace and quiet. As soon as I got on the bus driver said, welcome to the full house. I said, what? I said, Jesus, what are we, the Tanners? We calling ourselves? And then I looked back and the bus was full. The only way to break this stress and tension in my life right now is to get into episode 91 of Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo. Welcome, one and all. If you're listening to this right now, you're probably one of the coolest fucking people in the world. At least to me. Let's get into it. You see this frosty guy, he's got that sweet soul patch. By God, he says, you know what? I've got a good-looking chin. There's no need for me to have a beard. I'm going to grow myself the sweet soul patch. And the ladies like the kisses. When you don't got a mustache and a beard and all that bullshit, women don't like that for reals. They're not a fan of that. Kissing a hairball. It's like kissing a cat's ass. But the soul patch is perfectly fine. That says, I'm cool, I'm hip, I'm with it, I like to get down and party. Michael Sweet, not Matthew Sweet, Stryper frontman says it's odd that many metalheads have a problem with Jesus, yet have absolutely no problem with the devil. Well, is he on to something there? I feel like we do a hell of a lot of Christian metal on this old little horse and pony show. But let's see what he's got to say about it. And I hope his eyeballs are doing better too. Maybe they'll get into a little bit of that. He's ruining his retinas. Michael Sweet of openly Christian rocker Stryper says that he finds it odd that many metalheads have a problem with Jesus, yet have absolutely no problem with the devil. I don't believe that to be the case, but the 60-year-old musician whose band threw Bibles into the audience, and you can go back watch my other Stryper videos about the massive fib that I told, will probably burn in hell for to get one of those Stryper Bibles. They would throw the Bibles into the audience, placed a Bible verse on Stryper's posters. Isaiah 53:5 made the comment in a social media post earlier today, Tuesday, August 22nd. He wrote, I find it interesting that most, and I mean most, people who write us off say that it's because we sing about Jesus, and that they could never get into that. Yet,
At the very same time, they sit or stand and listen to a band sing about Satan, the sweet Lord, Satan from hell, and not bat an eye, even though they're not into Satan. It's always struck me as odd that many metalheads have a problem with Jesus, yet absolutely no problem with the devil.
Well, what do they say? The devil, the friend of the devil is a friend of mine, right? The devil is my best friend or something like that. I guess they say that about Jesus too, right? They do that. You know, my God is an awesome God. It works on both sides there, Michael. A little over 2 years ago, Sweet weighed in on a debate about cancel culture, saying that he worried that it wouldn't be long before the Christian Bible became canceled. That's the biggest selling book of all time. How's it going to be canceled? That and what? Something from Oprah Winfrey, I'm sure, are the biggest books ever in the world. Noting he and his Stryper bandmates threw out Bibles to the crowd at their live shows.
We've been handing out Bibles for almost 40 years. For the first time in my life, I'm asking myself this question. I wonder how long it will be before this book is canceled.
I know it. Well, they're burning books now. I don't think they'll plan on burning that book, but they are burning books.
I know it may seem like a silly thought, but it's really not. A silly thought, really not, really not. It's just a matter of time. Frightening!
In 2015 interview with the Great Southern Brain Fart. What? The Great Southern Brain Fart? That's a podcast I tuned instantly into. Sweet claimed that Stryper was more honest in its continuous efforts to emphasize Christian values and messages that many metal musicians who sing about Satan and warfare but go to church on Sunday. He said, Tom Araya. I had a friend that says that every time that something comes up about Christian metal, satanic metal, is Tom Araya, he's Christian. And he is. He's a Christian. He says, well, I sing all the stuff about cutting Jesus' head off and everything because it makes for good songs and they sell. He said, Tom Araya from Slayer gets up there with the pentagrams and upside down crosses and the screaming and the evil, but then gets off the stage and goes to church. Don't get me wrong, I think that's great. But it also brings into question the depth of what they're doing and who they're doing it for. I guess the same question could be asked, who are you doing the music for? Slayer, I think Kerry King, he dabbles in the dark arts. He likes a bit of Satan. But Tom Araya, he's just kind of a fun-loving goof, isn't he? And he's like, Kerry King writes all the words, so he just gets up there and sings about sawing Jesus' head off or whatever, Asked if it's an underlying goal of Stryper to get all of its fans to convert to Christianity, Sweet said,
absolutely not. We never try to convert people. I mean, if there's someone who's there and wants to talk to us about God, or say they're just broken and are looking to learn more about God, of course, we're going to do that. We'll have dinner with them and talk to them all about it. But we don't get out there and say, turn or burn in hell. A lot of Christians take that approach, but we don't. We're not about that. And we've never been about that. That turns me off just like any other person. We're just all about loving people and hanging out with people. We go and perform in bars. Dirty, stinky, alcoholic bars. Formed 40 years ago. Wow, Stryper. Stryper's name comes from Isaiah 53:5, which states, with these stripes he is healed. That's what we are healed. Here's the long version. Here's the unabridged. But he was wounded for his transgressions. He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. And with his stripes, we are healed. Stryper's album includes To Hell with the Devil, which I did a sweet version of that. Second Coming, No More Hell to Pay. Stryper's albums include To Hell with the Devil. I had that one. Second Coming, No More Hell to Pay. Fallen, God
damn evil. Even the devil believes. And the band's latest effort, The Final Battle. In 2018, with the Detroit Free Press, Michael said that Stryper was never fully embraced by the heavy metal and hard rock community, largely because of the band's Christian lyrics. But then he said something, too, about how we're technically not a Christian band. We've never been a Christian band or whatever. I don't know why this one isn't over here, because I says, if we're going to do a little bit of Christian, we might as get down there into the satanic pop rock, too, while we're at it. This is Ghost. I thought this was a fun, neat thing. They got a devotional. You see the Catholic, where you go in and tell your sins to the Father. Ghost playing some shows at the Grammy Museum. You can go in and confess your sins. I'd like you guys to do that if you're in the area. Go down to the Grammy Museum and confess. And there's the Papa Emeritus in all his regale. Now, this guy doesn't really want to sit on the lap of the sweet Lord Satan. He may not even believe there's such a thing as the sweet Lord Satan. But he is fully embracing the aesthetic. Ghost devotional pop-up unveiled at Grammy Museum. Confess your sins. As Ghost September 2011 and 12 headlining stand at the Kia Forum looms ever closer, the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles has unveiled the Ghost devotional pop-up. As the faithful await their return of Papa Emeritus IV and company, that means company, to the city of Angeles. They are invited to enter the handcrafted, custom-built confessional booth and bare their soul about why they think Ghosts are the best rock band in the world. Make amends and leave atoned with a souvenir photo of the experience. Is it a photo booth too? That would be even better. The Ghost Devotional Pop-Up was designed and fabricated by Justin Ware of Creative Ware. Here's in his stuff, Beastie Boys exhibit at the Orange County Museum of Art. And built by carpenter welder Greg S. Gilday, The Mandalorian. He's worked on The Mandalorian, Tenet, and Westworld. The custom created structure will be accompanied by a museum installation displaying Papa Emeritus III's outfit worn at the 2005 Grammys. The year Ghost took home Best Metal Performance Award for Cerise from the band's third album, Meliora. And they haven't won anything since that? That is bananas. The Ghost Devotional Pop-Up will be open to Grammy Museum visitors through September 17th. Ghost Re-Impera US 2023 continues through September 12th. The Grammy Museum is a non-profit organization dedicated to celebrating and exploring music from yesterday and today. It's a great band, Y&T there. That's not what they mean, but to inspire the music of tomorrow through exhibits, education, grants, preservation initiatives, oh, Jesus, and public programming. Paying tribute to our collective musical heritage, the museum values and celebrates the dynamic connection in people's diverse backgrounds and music's many genres, telling stories that inspire us and creative expression that leads change in our industry. Ghost kicked off its summer 2023 U.S. tour last night, Wednesday, August 2nd, at the Concord Pavilion in Concord, California. Supported by the delightful Amon Amarth, whom I now really, really enjoy. What does it say about the Toby Forge here? Ghost leader Tobias Forge worked on the follow-up to 2018's prequel with Alholland. The Swedish co-writer Salem Al-Fakir and Vincent Planter, whose credits include Madonna. Really? So he's got songwriters in there. Co-writers. Yep. Madonna and Lady Gaga. This fella right here, Vince Planter, he's worked with Madonna and Lady Gaga. 6 of Ghost's albums have charted on the Billboard 200 in Festissimum. Number 28 in 2013, If You Have Ghost, which was a little EP. At number 87 in 2013, Meliora. Number 8 in 2015, Pope Star. That's the one that has square hammer on it that everyone loves. That was number 16 in 2016, Prequel. Well, that hit at number 3 in 2018. And can you guess your sweet and juicies? Impera. What did that do? Can you read it? If I just put my little Twinkie under here. Number 2, in the number 2 slot, 2022. There you have that. Have you ever heard of a guy named Tim the Ripper Owens? I'm about to tell you a little bit about this guy. This guy, Tim Ripper Owens, whom you've never heard of because you don't know anything, but I do, used to be in Judas Priest. And he's also lost about 40 pounds. He's looking great. That hat looks huge. It looks really big on that melon. But that's what happens when you lose that water weight. Tim Ripper Owens is still shocked he never got a phone call from Judas Priest about Rock Hall induction. You got Rob Halford up there, walking, jumping around, skipping around with Dolly Parton and everything else. You even got KK Downing that got up there and they were really awkward towards him. They didn't invite this fella. He was on 2 records with Judas Priest. You just throw those in the garbage? Is that what you do with those records, Judas Priest? You just throw them in the shitter. You just throw them in the porta potty full of mud pie? That sounds like that guy from, I've been watching that, he's funny as hell, that Tim Robinson. I Think You Should Leave or whatever on Netflix. He calls every kind of fecal matter mud pies. You used too small a slice of toilet paper and now I got mud pie. If you haven't watched that, if you can watch this, you could probably handle it because it's really extremely annoying. But really funny. Let's get into this and find out what he says in a new interview with Robert Cavuto of My Global Mind, ex-Judas Priest singer. That's right, ex-Judas Priest singer. Tim the Ripper, Rip Man Owens, was asked if there was ever any consideration to him to have him come up on stage. Hold on. It was just sitting there. It had to come out. Every consideration to have him come up on stage and perform with his former bandmates during their introduction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last November. He responded as transcribed. I don't know. They never called me. Thanked me. The only time Judas Priest calls me is to say they're gonna sue me or something. But no one reached out. I'm glad Ken, original Priest guitarist KK Downing, went in. I'm happy KK, yeah, because he's in KK's Priest. Yeah, I was just shocked that I didn't even get a mention, a call from the band. I was in the band for almost 10 years. We got a Grammy nomination during my time with the band and all that. I would have liked to have heard a thank you or maybe on stage a thank you. But it's not shocking, and that's what happens. Oh, he's worked up. Owens continues. They erased my part of Judas Priest's history, so it's not shocking. It is really great for Ken. You've said that already, Tim. You've already praised Ken. Other than after it was all said and done, the management threw him under the bus and said bad things about him to the press. But Ken, Ken had nothing but great things to say about it. He said he had a blast, and it was great seeing the guys. And I like Ken's perspective on it. When we talk about it, I like KK, man. That's just weird to be calling in Ken at this stage. And there's a Barbie movie out. Now I'm thinking about Barbie sucking face with KK Downing. He said how great it was. And I'm just really, really, really happy for him. I'm happy for all the guys. I love them to death. And Glenn Tipton and Ian Hill and Scott Travis and Rob Halford, it's well deserved. This is a guy being a good sport. Oh boy, he's keep going. Tim added, I love the fact that even though I've been erased completely from the history of Judas Priest, I have been absolutely freaking sandblasted off the graffitied wall that is Judas Priest. I still call them friends and family, including Rob. I love whenever I see Rob somewhere at the club. And we talk. I love it when I see Rob somewhere and we talk. And I love watching him. And I love his voice. It's sounding so great again. It's a shame that I've been erased completely from the history of Judas Priest, but it doesn't change the fact that I love the guys, and it was a great time. Owens joined Priest in 1996 after being discovered when the band's drummer was given a videotape of him, pre-YouTube. You got to hand out a big old clunky VHS tape. Check this out when you get home, man. A videotape of him performing the Priest cover band British Steel. Judas Priest at the time was seeking a replacement for Halford, who has since rejoined the band. Owens recorded 2 albums with the Judas Priest, 1997's Jugulator and 2001's Demolition, before Halford returned to the group. He was jelly. You know, Rob Halford's sitting on the couch, his white couch at home, which, by the way, he's got a white couch at home, and John 5 went over there one time and had a Reese's peanut butter cup in his pocket, and it melted, and it got all over the chocolate, got all over Rob Halford's white couch, right? So when Rob Halford went out of the room, because he says, John 5, would you like a spot of tea? And he says, oh, that'd be quite nice, thank you. He says, I'll be right back in a dingle-dangle. As soon as he walked out of the room, he saw that he had that chocolate, and so he flipped the cushion and didn't say a word about it. Rob Halford thought it was his cat that shit on the couch. It's a true story. If you don't believe me, go listen to the episode of, what's that comedian? Something Talk. Let's Rock and Talk. It's an AC/DC thing. His name's Dean Del Rey. Go listen to the Dean Del Rey podcast, the John 5 episode. He talks about how Rob Halford thought he shit on his couch. Anyways, the Judas Priest members that got inducted into the current Hall of Fame, Rock Hall of Fame, was Halford, Hill, Timpton, Travis, along with former members Downing, Les Binks, and late drummer Dave Holland, rest in peace. At the Rock Hall induction, Halford, Hill, Timpton, and Travis were joined by Binks, Downing, and current guitarist Richie Faulkner. And you don't have the Rip Man over there. That's kind of fucky. For a 3-song medley performance consisting of You Got Another Thing Coming, Breaking the Law, and Living After Midnight. That's enough of that. Let's close our eyes, guys. Let's close our eyes and just hum lightly for Dale of the Melvins. I absolutely love this guy. He's an amazing drummer and everything. He's got to undergo emergency spinal surgery, and I wanted to see what this was all about. It's a very pixelated picture, but I love me some Dale Crover. He is a fantastic drummer. He seems like he would be a great guy to have a tonic water with. I don't think he's much of a drinker. Melvin's drummer, Dale Crover, will sit out the band's tour with Boris, they're from Japan, and Mr. Fields in order to undergo emergency spinal surgery. Filling in for him will be former Melvin's drummer, Cody Willis. I think, Big Business and High on Fire. There was a time there where they did double drummers, a tour and an album, where they had Dale and Cody. And Cody Willis was in Big Business and High on Fire. Just having a little sip for Dale. Earlier today, Melvins released the following statement via social media. Melvins dedicated Twin of Evil Tour. They're dedicating Twin of Evil Tour to Dale Crover as he prepares for spinal surgery. We are sad to announce that literally days before leaving on tour, our drummer Dale Crover learned he needed immediate emergency spinal surgery, which will take him out of commission for months. He's doing as well as can be expected, considering the severity of the situation. The one stroke of luck in all that this was that Cody Willis, part of the Melvins family for 8+ years, who literally trained in sitting by Dale's side on to many tours to count. Oh my God, I read that terribly, didn't I? The one stroke of luck in all of this was that Cody Willis, part of the Melvins family for 8+ years, who literally trained in sitting by Dale's side on too many tours to count, is able to step in and take over on drums. Yeah, they would play completely syncopated. And I saw them twice, and I saw them with the double drummers once. With Mr. Fields already on the road heading to LA from Chicago and Boris flying in from Japan, I told you they were from Japan, we all felt we needed to support Dale, the other bands on the bill, as well as the ticket holders, by continuing with the tour as scheduled. We ask everyone's solidarity during this dark time. Obviously, our primary concern right now is Dale's health and selling them goddamn tickets. So get your tickets online. And we're doing everything possible on our end to make sure he gets what he needs to make a full recovery. Get him some yoga class tickets. That's great for your back. Yoga and stretching. Melvin's Twin of Evil tour with Boris and Mr. Fields will kick off on August 24th. That is today as I record this, but it is 2 days into the tour as you watch this. The 7-week trek will see the Los Angeles by way of Washington band Melvins and the Japanese trio Boris performing classic albums in their entirety. Bullhead, Melvins, and Heavy Rocks from Boris. The Melvins have already had an eventful 40th anniversary year, recently wrapping up a stint on the Epicac Geek Show tour with label mates Mr. Bungle and Spotlights, before venturing overseas for the band's first European outing since 2018. The group were also recently featured on a series of Revolver covers, making their 1983 inception with a trio of portraits shot by Tool's Adam Jones. He's the guy that does that. You know, he does a lot of mellow picking that Adam Jones does. That is not a Tool song, by the way. I'm trying to do a bit of Tool, but I'm doing a bad job at it. That's enough of that. I thought we'd watch a little bit of old Dave Grohl. He loves rock and roll. If he's not playing rock and roll, he's somewhere else looking at rock and roll, or he's reading a rock magazine or something. He's always doing something. There's a band called Chevy Metal, and it's a cover band, and you're not going to believe it, but Dave Grohl, Chad Smith, and Stephen Perkins. Is that the guy from, I guess they'll tell us here, performed rock classics at California Pizza Bar. Get a slice of pepperoni at California Pizza Bar. Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, Red Hot Chili Peps, Chad Smith, and Jane's Addiction, that's who I was thinking of. Jane's Addiction, Stephen Perkins. Greg Bissonette, he was the drummer for David Lee Roth on the good David Lee Roth records. And Shane Hawkins, young son to Taylor Hawkins, the son of late Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins, are among the guest musicians who performed with Chevy Metal on August 21st at the Rock and Roll Pizza Bar in Semi Valley, California. Fun, fun, fun. Fan film video of this concert, which included cover versions of the classic songs from the Rolling Stones, Van Halen, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Queen, David Bowie, and AC/DC, can be seen below. Not your average cover band, Chevy Metal was formed by Taylor Hawkins and Wiley Hodgden, and toured the world. Been Mick Jagger's backing band. What? and playing with some of the best musicians on the planet. You never know who might show up to jam with Chevy Metal. Well, we know now, don't we? We know exactly who's going to be showing up, which plays only the sickest tunes from the 70s and 80s. Well, there you go. What do we want to hear, guys? Let's do this one, whatever it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Smith came out to
Give it away, give it away, give it away, you know.
We're going to do an AC/DC song. I just want to make sure I don't...
Is it a good one?
So I'm going to read them from my phone. I know that's not very rock and roll.
Shit, you could read them from all their phones.
Dave, read it from mine. Read it from mine.
So,
Okay. TNT.
If you're having trouble in the high school head.
I'll help you, Dave. Little grease on this. With the high school hat, he's giving you the blues.
Hey, what you got to do, mama?
Pick up the phone. I live a life of crime. Dirty deeds, it's time for your comments. Oh, dirty deeds, done dirt cheap. Are you ready for that? Ready to have some fun? Get into your comments? We heard enough of that. We hear enough from Dave goddamn Grohl. Everywhere he's going, he makes $1 trillion a year, and he's just everywhere. Let's get into it. All right, we got up first here. We got Cool Dude 1992, whom now I know is Shane Shoemaker Jr. And it says, Shane, thanks for watching Sync Army's TAPE machine, brother. We are big fans of you in our group. I love that. That gets a heart and a thumb. Is it a gang or a group? I'd rather it be a gang, but I'll take a group if that's okay. Yeah, TAP, that's... I was surprised that it was the whole thing. I mean, that was pretty good, and it didn't get dinged for a copyright. So you guys must have redid that whole freaking thing. It must have been done from the ground up, the drums and everything, and you know, because it didn't get dinged. I thought for sure I was getting a copyright strike. I says, I'm getting a copyright strike. Or not a copyright, yeah, just you know what I mean, the copyright, whatever. So thank you, my friend, thank you. Mike Buchanan coming in here. Oh my heavens, he's written the sequel to Moby Dick. Fantastic intro this week, my friend, ... Let's get into the movie that was in my world. Let's get into the week that was in my world. Tuesday brought the greatest movie that is bad, but we love it anyway. Sharknado. That's right. He went and saw it. 10th anniversary or something. To be more specific, the 10th anniversary edition and in theaters too. Myself and about 100 of my new friends got together at a small theater and just had the greatest of times. One of the greatest movies ever made. I now have some closure from the Sharknado franchise. I highly recommend this version when it eventually arrives on home streaming or video. Added more special effects. They've added more special effects. Friday brought one of the greatest concerts I've seen in some time. Extreme and Living Color. I've seen Living Color many, many years ago. And they still bring the rock. They were fantastic. Extreme, I had never seen before. If you're even slightly a fan of the band, I highly recommend seeing them live. And guess what? We did check out Nuno Bettencourt and the boys doing their hot rockin' new tune, Rise, in a video earlier this week. Still Mike Buchanan now, getting into Ghost. What's wrong with that venue? What's wrong with the painting your face? Just let the fans have fun. They're not doing any harm. Shame on that venue. Getting to the White Snake or David Coverdale solo band, whatever you want to call them, I do remember the 1987 album and it being all the rage back in high school. It was huge. My mother bought it. I myself wasn't a huge fan, but liked some of their songs. I wasn't too familiar with the band as I liked much heavier music. Vandenberg was never in the band. He recorded a solo for the re-recorded version of the song Here I Go Again. I swore I thought I saw Vandenberg in the videos. He says here, Vi joined briefly in 1989 for one album, I believe. And depending on the order, either you'll read this and go, huh, or you will have read here post and go, oh yeah, Mike B is responding. Miss Althea's joke about calling Whitesnake Vi Snake is awesome. But yeah, Vi is pretty darn vain. Yeah, it's his name, right? Vain. I wonder if anyone ever said that to him. We should just uns add an N to your name, and then you will be vain. But then again, so is Coverdale. Mike Buchanan on Nick Bocott, Grim Reaper. Nick Bocott is one of the most underrated guitarists in the metal industry, and he was the guy that did the column in Circus Magazine. Showed you the tablature, right? Grim Reaper was one of those bands that should have been huge, but for their lyrics and dealing with hell, I believe they would have been. The album you are thinking of is Rock You to Hell, 1987. Yes. This is a band that I would have loved to have seen live back in the day. Looking forward to hearing what? 1987. This is a band that I would have loved to have seen live back in the day. Looking forward to hearing what they come up with. There is an album called Nothing Whatsoever to Do with Hell that was to be Grim Reaper's fourth album and that Steve released all of the demos. What? Equally as brilliant but rough sounding, I would love to hear what the album would have sounded like being mixed. Yeah, why isn't Bocott working on that? Mike Buchanan says, why do musicians have to talk shit about other musicians? Jealousy, maybe? I agree with everything Dave Lombardo is saying. From what I know, Anthrax has been in the studio since May doing the new album. Yes, Joey's off partying with Journey instead. I mean, who would want to Don't Stop Believing, right? Amen to that. All right, and now your Jive Talkin' jokes of the week from Mike Buchanan. Here we go. Why was the lumberjack fired? He saw too much. Why should you always bring a bag of chips to a party? In caso emergency. Ho, ho, ho. I'm using that one. Why do you call a typo? What do you call a typo on a headstone? A grave mistake. Where do books hide when they're scared? Under their covers. And finally, a man walks into a zoo. Anytime you start a joke with a man walks in, it's like, all right, here we go. A man walks into a zoo. The only animal in the entire zoo was a dog. ... It's a Shih Tzu. Okay, that's a good one. It's a Shih Tzu. Because it's a shit zoo, but it's the dog. She, S-H-I-H, if you're just listening. S-H-I-H space T-Z-U is a dog. Shih Tzu. I used to have two Lhasa Apsos. And that's the kind of dog you have, so when people go, oh my God, what kind of dog is that? You go, it's a Lhasa Apso. Miss Althea coming in here. Here we go. The dumbstruck fool says she was tired to post this comment 10 damn times. This one goes to 11. If it actually sticks this time. Thank God for copy paste, right? I mean, other than you write it out the first couple of times, you go, damn! And then you go, all right, I'm going to copy and paste this son of a bitch. Another epic opening theme. We feel for you, and you know we love you, Shane. Rest in peace, Prince, the writer of that tune. Yeah, he wrote everything. But that was Shaka Khan sang that. And it was I Feel for You. Prince wrote 1 billion songs. Miss Althea, Ghost and the Face Paint debacle. Okay, so what does that venue do and where do they stand if and when there is a drag show? Queens are painted to the gods, darling. Dudes are going to be looking more beautiful than natural-born women, and you're not lying about it. I'll tell you a story here. To that end, how is that any different than a little bit of a special effects or Halloween-type makeup? Come on. All right, I'm going to tell you a quick story. If you don't know, I was in a band for many, many, many years called Die Monster Die, a horror band, horror punk, horror metal, masks, blood, spurting. We did shows with Typo Negative and Gwar and everything. We've got a cult following, nothing too major, but I was the drummer for that band. We did it was kind of gothic, horror, misfitsy, Gwarish kind of stuff. We did a drag show. We were the band that played the drag show, and we shared our dressing room with the drag show folks. And I saw these dudes come in that looked like, well, they looked healthier than any of us in our dirty metal band, but big and muscular and just like, you're like, oh God, look, you know. And when they got dressed, and we were in there, we watched them get dressed the whole time. I'm talking ass straps and thongs, the whole thing, you know. And when they were finished, there was a couple of them that were absolutely drop dead gorgeous. I mean, just like, where did that creepy dude go? It was a crazy night. We also played with a pretty popular goth rock band called Tragic Black at that show. But anyway, yeah, it was just something else, man. Queens are painted up to the gods. Dudes are going to be looking more beautiful and natural than women to that end. How is that any different than a little bit of special effects or Halloween type makeup? Come on. Yeah, and in that story, they were also saying that there was actual women there that weren't dressed. There was one lady that was saying, I wasn't even dressed in ghost makeup. I just had my regular stuff on. They thought I looked like a spooky demon. So I had to wipe it all off, and then I really looked like a spooky demon. Miss Althea on Adrian Vandenberg and Steve Vai issue. I honestly have no recollection of Steve being in Whitesnake. Then again, I'm not a fan of the band, so I don't care. What I kept waiting for in the story, though, was a quote from Steve along the lines of, I was such a prima donna, they started to call the band Visnake. Okay, now we know what Mike Buchanan was talking about. Waiting for Mike B to lambaste me for that joke. So we know that he appreciated it. Visnake. They should have had you around, I'll tell you that. Because that would have been great. You know they said vain, though, right? You know they were all like vain. Vi. More like vain. He always seemed like a down-to-earth guy to me. What do I know? Miss Althea on Grim Reaper. I know it's a staple for them and that no ill will was intended, but it does simply sound off-putting for a song titled See You in Hell associated with the celebration of life. That's true. I didn't think about it. R.I.P. Steve Grimmett. And who would guess that I, of all people, has a little Grim Reaper tidbit? Oh! Dan and I knew and used to hang out with one of their former bass players, Chaz Grimaldi. When he played in a cover band here in the Baltimore area in the late 90s, early 2000s. Gene Barnett, formerly of Dirty Looks, and Lillian Axe was also in that band. We hung out with him too. Which one was Gene Barnett? Was he the singer guy from Dirty Looks? I guess if it was Lillian Axe, it probably wouldn't be, right?
Baby don't stop, baby don't stop, baby don't know.
Ruby, Ruby, red, Ruby, Ruby. We have not seen Chaz since that band broke up about 20 years ago. But he was a nice, cool guy, and he was always good to us. Miss Althea on Dave Lombardo. Kudos to him for defending his friend Lars. But I honestly stopped listening after the mention of Metal Hammer magazine. Is still exists? I think it's just the online version, I'm pretty sure. Miss Althea on Joey Belladonna, just trying to wrap my head around what is taking so damn long to pull together a thrash album. But what do I know? Hey, Journey, I think your next singer is ready and waiting if y'all finally fire Arnell. I mean, she's not that far off, as he has been begging you to. I mean, okay, this is an interesting... Let's go down the rabbit hole on this for a second as I take a sip of this. Arnell Pineda, the singer right now, has been saying they can fire me if they want. They can fire me. How weird is it? You've got Joey Belladonna right there, and then they put out the Joey Belladonna Frontiers, almost commercial on Joey Belladonna's channel there that we watched. And how did they find the last singer? Arnell. They found him on YouTube. So Joey would join right in a hard, he'd say, hey guys, I'm not going to quit Anthrax. And if they said, yeah, you need to quit, he'd go, all right, Anthrax, you're out. Good luck. He'd join that in a hot minute. All right, Miss Althea, very good, very good. Oscar coming in here. A rumor on the dark web now states reward monies for shaving, not scalping, Anthrax Joey Belladonna's hair, follicles, and the other related biological specimens. So you need all of it. You need the follicles, the skin, that you need the whole thing, and other related biological specimens. This is in addition to cash still available for retrieving Ian's whiskers. Yes, because that's true. Isn't there something online about that? Like, hey, there's a reward for someone that cuts his beard off or something. I don't know that we should perpetuate that. And, someone woke up listening to this podcast and said, what? Cut off his beard? I'm going to see him next week. All right, there you go. Sticky Doll coming in. Wow, go Belladonna, go. We love Anthrax. What a out of left field project, but he kills it. Very impressed. Rock on, Shaka Khan. I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but I found this great breakdancing. So there's it's got Rocket, it's got all the Fat Boys, it's a playlist on Spotify. Breakdancing in the 80s. Jolly Jake Lavelle coming in, except for when TC dropped an out of nowhere reference to Shaka Khan on an episode of Magnum PI, and I was anywhere Magnum PI, was I anywhere surprised to see you, Shane Diablo, rock a Casio-fueled Shaka Khan tune, one Feel For You, laying down the knowledge here. P.S. Prince wrote that song, Feel For You. It's got the Prince sound. They used to talk about the Motown sound. There's a sound to Prince's tunes. Like Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. I could totally hear Prince doing it. And I watched a concert on YouTube where he does like a 4-hour concert where he gives you a little nod to every song he's written. And he does a great little bit of that. Sinead O'Connor, rest in peace. From his self-titled release in 1979, so he did do it. See, I don't let you guys finish. I don't read enough before I talk. This is his PS. I'm going to go all the way through it. Prince wrote the song Feel For You for his self-titled release, 1979. Okay, so did he write it for that and it didn't get on the record? I'm not that big of a fan of Prince. I started at Purple Rain, like everyone else did. There's your heart. And Kevin Ortega coming in here. Ghost face paint policy. This is probably the dumbest thing ever. How can they deny fans their right to support the band by wearing face paint for the band? Let it be a black metal show. That's a good point. You'd have a bunch of black metal fans show up in corpse paint and turning them away wouldn't be easy. Totally not cool. I'm not a fan of this first 2 or 3 Ghost albums. What? I'm a fan of the first 2 or 3 Ghost records. So Opus Eponymous, the metal stuff, the more metal stuff. Opus Eponymous, Infestissumam, Meliora. And then they got Madonna. And they got Madonna and Lady Gaga's guys in there. Kevin on Vandenberg and Vi apology. I really like Whitesnake and was unaware of any behind-the-scenes drama. Maybe they can still try to work it out. And then he's got the hands going, I don't know. It's the Emicon. I don't know. Steve Vai as a prima donna? ? I don't know. Maybe I don't follow him much. Next. Kevin on Nick Bocott of Grim Reaper. I actually might want to see the collaboration with Tim Ripper Owens. Both are icons. And if this is an actual celebration and not a cash grab, then let's go and do it. I agree. Or if it's going to be a cash grab, give that money to Russ and Amanda, the kids, right? Kevin Ortega on Dave Lombardo on Lars. I agree with him. Love or hate Lars, he is one of the biggest things of Metallica. Whether his skills are good or not, he still can kick ass on the drums. On a side note, just wish the snare on Saint Anger didn't sound like hot trash. Thanks always, my brother, and cheers. There you have that. Another episode in the kit and caboodle. That's right. I read a little article thing from Corey Taylor that was where he was talking about the Saint Anger record, and he said that he hated it until he went back and actually blocked out the snare drum sound and listened to the songs. And I guess he watched some performance of Metallica playing it in a rehearsal room or something. Then he went, oh, those songs are really good. It's just the lousy sounding mix. We all know who to blame for that. It's Lars. Okay? We're going to just freestyle with a bait. Ooh, what a different beat though. Put your hands up, everybody, have fun with me. We just did a Jive Talkin. It's, can't you say? Jive Talkin, Jive Talkin, we having fun and we fucking. No, we're not doing that Jive Talkin, just having a good time. Jive Talkin with your friend Shane, you really gonna go insane. If you listen to it twice, you will go to insane asylums. A ghosty old asylum where the Ghost Adventure crew is hanging out. Zach Bagans. likes to jive.